Hey everyone, Happy New Year. It's Jason here, and today I want to do a little bit of a different kind of video because just for fun to start the new year, I wanted to answer the question, do I use my degree? Now, some of you may know that I got a PhD in math. I got my undergraduate degree in math at the University of Ottawa and my PhD, my master's and PhD at McGill University. And that all finished in 2016. After that, I did go on to do a postdoc in math at the University of Melbourne. And that was from 2016 to 2018. That was pretty cool. But to answer the question, do I use my degree? Well, the answer is no. I don't use it anymore. I mean, after all, I kind of left the mathematical world to become a content creator. And I pretty much use nothing that I've learned in my degree, in my regular day-to-day stuff. Does that mean I regret getting a PhD? Well, no, because my original goal, actually, when getting that degree was not to get a job or use it later, but just to understand and appreciate the beauty of mathematics. I still think mathematics is a beautiful field, and it's an elegant sort of like kind of technical art in some way. So I appreciate that deep level of understanding. And I still ponder math now and then and kind of ponder its beauty. And I'm grateful for that knowledge. So I don't regret getting the degree. And that brings me to three things that I think everyone should know before getting a degree, especially an advanced degree like a master's degree or a PhD. Thing number one is that you're probably not going to use it. Most jobs that require PhDs only require them very loosely in the sense that you probably won't use any of the specific knowledge that you've learned in that job. Thing number two is that even if you do use it, you're probably not going to be using it in a way that is very conducive to your original motivations for getting that degree. So if you're curious about the world, if you're interested in figuring out how things work, that kind of stuff, your degree probably won't be used in that way. And I think that's true both in and out of academia. Inside academia, academia is largely about production. It's about keeping itself alive with funding. It's not about pursuing curiosity in any of its forms. Yeah, there's still some places where you can do that in academia, but I think the vast majority of people won't find that in academia. Outside of academia, of course, the main goal is short-term profit, usually with unsustainable means. So you're basically trading some moments to pursue your own curiosity in return for helping somebody else make a massive amount of profit in an unsustainable system. I think it's going to be very hard to truly have the same experience after you graduate compared to before you graduate. I think that's very rare. And the final third thing is that the most useful stuff I use in life is stuff I learned by myself. Even though I learned a lot of cool things at school, the most useful things I've ever learned were things I've learned by myself, like editing audio so I could make courses on Udemy, or editing videos, or just photography. I mean, I learned photography essentially by myself. Now, does that mean getting a degree is worthless? No, of course not, because the modern world is really a system in which you have to kind of compete in an arena to survive. It's not really a healthy society. Most modern societies today aren't really healthy societies. I think sort of, if you look at society, the main objective of most people is to kind of carve out a little nest for themselves while they watch the world burn. And I think getting a degree is just one way to get a position in society so you can help other people carve out their own niche, and so you can carve out your own niche as well, so you can kind of avoid the catastrophes that are to come. And it's kind of cynical sounding, but it's actually quite true, I think. So getting a master's degree or a PhD is probably going to help you to do that. But I think you have to keep in mind at the same time that just because it's useful doesn't mean it's going to be a nurturing environment. You know, I think if you go to school in North America, you know, like high school and earlier school, like elementary school or whatever it's called, if you do that in North America, you kind of get the impression from teachers that learning is interesting. It's important to pursue your own curiosity and develop your own intuition about the world and all that stuff. But you're not really kind of told the truth about it, that the system of learning is really just a kind of way to make you into a little bit of a cog in the system. And it's not really to make a better society in any way. I think very few positions in the world are to make a better society. Very few jobs that you can get do make our society better. Some of them might ameliorate the problems we've already caused by being reckless, but they're not really very encouraging. It's sort of like there's a huge difference between ameliorating damage and actually producing something nice. So you have to keep all that in mind, I think. Getting a degree is useful, but at the same time, it's also kind of selling your soul out in a way. And that's the underlying current of university. You might be shielded from that a little bit when you're studying because you're surrounded by people who don't have a lot of experience. Graduate students, undergraduate students, they don't have a lot of life experience. So they don't really understand this. And so they're kind of naive and they have idealistic notions about the world. And so when you're in that environment, you're naturally going to be encouraged, and that's not a bad thing. But it's not an accurate portrayal of what actually getting a degree is all about, and it's not an accurate predictor of what the world is going to be like after you finish. So just keep all of that stuff in mind. I think if I could give you one more piece of advice, if you're thinking of getting a degree, have a backup plan or have a plan, an alternative plan that's completely different than following the natural pathway encouraged by society. Just start thinking about it. Start thinking about an alternative plan that's completely different than getting a degree and getting a job and fitting in as a cog in society. Because one day you might have to actually choose an alternative. You might not. You might fit in and that might be okay. But there might come a time in life where you'll feel that there's something missing. And that's because following the standard pathway, becoming a cog and contributing to this society, this industrial society where the only goal is short-term profit, is not fulfilling. And then you kind of have to figure this out, this alternative plan right then and there. So if you start thinking about it now, it's going to help you in the future. So yeah, degrees. You can learn a lot from them. They can be a journey of self-discovery, but there's also an underlying danger within them. And you have to be aware of that danger. And you have to think about them very carefully and not make them your whole life. So that's what I think about the current state of education, higher degrees, university, and all that. And I hope you found this video interesting, and I'll see you again next time.